Not every celebrity can say they hold the heartwarming title of Hollywood's nice guy or gal, but if a star shares a rude encounter with another famous face, you best believe it'll be the talk of Tinseltown. We're dishing the dirt on the rudest celebs in Hollywood, according to reportedly nicer stars. At first glance, you'd probably never think Pierce Brosnan could be rude. Between his sultry voice and dashing looks, the Irish actor won our hearts as James Bond in the late 90s. However, funny man James Corden might beg to differ with this glowing reputation.
No hard feelings, Mr. Bond.
In a headline-making segment of Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts on The Late Late Show in 2017, guest Khloe Kardashian asked Corden about the rudest celeb he's ever met. He reluctantly revealed,
Pierce Brosnan.
The late-night star went on to claim,
I went to see U2, and Pierce Brosnan was with some friends here, and they left like halfway through the gig.
After the space had been vacant for a while, Corden and his wife moved to Brosnan's spot, apparently right before the actor returned.
This arm went on here and just pushed me out the way. And I was looking at him like that, and he didn't even glance at me. He just moved back into his area.
We never thought the actor best known as 007 could allegedly be this harsh in real life. But after Khloe offered the possibility that Brosnan was drunk at the time, Corden quipped,
Maybe he's just a bit rude.
Gene Simmons may look scary with all the makeup he wears for Kiss, but nobody would have thought he'd be rude to the elderly. It all started when Modern Family's Eric Stonestreet shared a series of texts from his mom Jamie on Instagram in 2014. At the time, she jokingly texted, I think Gene Simmons is on my flight. Do you think I should go give him a kiss? To which her famous son quipped, quote, yes, with tongue. However, it wasn't long until Stonestreet publicly put Simmons and bandmate Paul Stanley on blast. The actor claimed via Twitter, Gene tried to bully my mom out of her seat, and when she said no, he said, it's okay, I just bought the plane, and then asked her for her autograph. I can't wait to run into you two old ass makeup wearing f***s and tell you in person. You should have been nicer to my mom.
Oh, that was good.
Simmons denied the entire situation in a series of since-deleted tweets, which included the message, quote, look, I have a mother too. Meanwhile, Stanley squashed the beef by apologizing to the mother-son duo. As for Stonestreet, he thanked Stanley and added, I will take my glow-in-the-dark kiss posters back together. Rumors surrounding Ariana Grande's alleged diva behavior have been swirling for years. The pint-sized crooner even combated the claims in a 2014 appearance on the Australian radio show Mike E and Emma, saying,
That's not real. That's nonsense. My fans know who I am. My family knows who I am. My friends know who I am. And that's all that matters.
But there was someone who disagreed with Grande's claim. E! News correspondent Juliana Rancic. She revealed, I think she does have a little bit of a diva thing going on. I remember, I think it was at the AMAs. She came up on the platform and normally I stand on her left side to the camera. I had to fight 13 years to get this side to the camera. It's my good side, but I fought 13 years for this, okay? Little Ariana comes over, I feel like being elbow in my side, I'm like, what's going on? And they push me to the other side. While the thought of the two stars fighting for their good side may sound hilarious, we aren't surprised Grande won this round. Christina Aguilera has built quite the reputation for not being the friendliest person among Hollywood's elite. And one celeb this pop star apparently rubbed the wrong way was actress Valerie Bertinelli. Andy Cohen asked Bertinelli to dish the dirt on what went on between the two stars during a 2014 episode of Watch What Happens Live. While the actress clarified that she and Aguilera didn't have an all-out feud, the singer did apparently snub Bertinelli at one of her ex-husband Eddie Van Halen's concerts. She claimed,
I was a fan at that time, a long time ago, and I went up to her because she was at a Van Halen concert. I said, oh my God, I think you're a beautiful singer, blah, blah, blah.
But Christina wasn't having it.
She just like went, yeah, whatever. She gave me the cold shoulder, and I thought, bitch, I'm a fan. You can't be nice to me.
After Cohen asked Bertinelli if she'd seen Aguilera since, the actress replied,
I have not. No, but you know what? She might have gotten better, but I heard she hasn't.
You probably shouldn't bother someone while they're in the middle of an intense workout sesh. But that's exactly what Sister Sister alum Tia Mowry decided to do to Charlize Theron during one particular SoulCycle class in 2014.
Hey. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you, you piece of shit. I'm gonna kick your ass.
Mowry told In Touch, she wasn't very nice to me. I said, hi, and she actually rolled her eyes and said, oh my God. I wasn't over the top. I know how to approach another celebrity. Andy Cohen later decided to rehash the goss with Theron herself on an episode of Watch What Happens Live. Theron joked,
Do you know who this is? What?
No, I heard this story. Did she really say it? Like, was it just written?
Once Cohen explained that the tale originated in a tabloid, Theron replied,
Oh, well, you can't go by
She
that,
said it.
right?
No, but apparently she is
I'm
quoted
really
as saying,
nice at SoulCycle, actually,
Yes.
because once my endorphins kick in, I'm actually really, like, I'm almost too friendly.
Ready to get to the bottom of this rumored feud, E! News caught up with Mowry, who finally cleared the air in 2017, saying,
It was all blown out of proportion. I respect her. I think she's amazing.
Aussie radio host Em Rusciano has probably had her fair share of run-ins with rude celebrities.
You have to appeal to everyone, and as we know, as you said, I am polarizing.
But she had no trouble narrowing down the rudest star she'd ever met. Answering a fan question about it, she replied on Instagram, quote, "Easy, lead singer of Snow Patrol." Her story about an interview she and her co-host conducted with Gary Lightbody made this piece of celeb gossip that much more amusing, Rusciano explained. "We went to interview the band, and they had that one big song on Grey's Anatomy, Chasing Cars. We got told, don't ask him about it because he gets angry, but we did because that's all anyone cared about." She claimed Lightbody sat through the rest of the interview with his middle finger raised in protest. Perhaps we can chalk up the entire sitch to the singer having an off day, considering he gushed about the iconic track to BBC News years after this interview, claiming, "I still have a really deep relationship to that song. It's a beautiful moment every time you play it." Kathy Griffin is no stranger to speaking her mind, and the comedy veteran has often been called out over her sometimes blunt portrayal of fellow celebs, she told Salon in 2018.
"I tell the real stuff, and there's some serious parts, like, the death threats, very intense."
Nevertheless, this hasn't stopped Griffin from dishing all her hot celeb secrets in her book, Kathy Griffin's Celebrity Run-Ins. And one star she couldn't say anything positive about? Actor Jon Hamm. Griffin wrote of an ill-fated dinner party in 2016, "You'll never convince me to like Jon Hamm. Hammy showed up, he even said to me, 'What are you doing here?' I said, 'What are you doing here?' She explained that while talking to Jack Nicholson later on, an intoxicated Hamm reportedly whispered in her ear saying, 'First it was, your Emmy isn't a real Emmy.' Then he whispered, 'You're so old.'" Considering the fact that Hamm previously told GQ that his popular Mad Men character Don Draper is a bad dude that he, quote, lives with every day, perhaps Hamm was taking one too many pointers from his on-screen alter ego.
You're never going to please everybody, that's for sure.
Michael Jordan is considered the GOAT in the history of the NBA. Unfortunately, it seems the legendary player's intensity on the court has spilled off of it as well, which fan and rapper Chamillionaire discovered following an alleged incident with the basketball giant in 2009. The rapper claimed via Upstream,
"I had saw Michael Jordan taking pictures with girls. I was just like, man, this is just that one moment. I'm going to ask Mike for a picture."
He continued,
"And I kind of expected him to say no. So I wasn't mad if he said no. But the way he said it, he said, 'Oh, hell nah, man. I ain't taking no pictures with no niggas.'"
Yikes. The story obviously picked up steam at the time, even on ESPN, which noted, "There's also widespread support for the idea that Jordan is no saint. We can't help but wonder if the public perception of Jordan is shifting." As for number 23 himself, Jordan seemingly decided to prove Chamillionaire's claims wrong, as years later, he was seen posing with rap artist 2 Chainz in an Instagram snap. If you're an A-list celeb, you should probably avoid being rude to an up-and-comer. Cue then 13-year-old Haley Steinfeld, who was heading home after an audition in late 2009 and tried to talk to Lea Michele.
I feel like I will live through these certain experiences and be like, okay, never again.
Steinfeld told J14, "When I was auditioning for True Grit, I was on the Paramount lot. Glee also films on the lot, and I love that show. I saw Lea Michele just walking to her trailer, so I walked up to her and asked for her autograph. But she walked by and a guy came and said, 'Sorry, now's not a good time.' I was so sad. I was practically crying on the way home." Michelle later told Gossip Cop, "I heard Haley was upset and I feel terrible. The Glee schedule is so jam-packed that the PA probably pulled me so that I wouldn't be late to set. I never meant to hurt her feelings. She's an extraordinary talent and I look forward to meeting her one day." And squash the beef she did, as the two actresses met once again at the 2011 SAG Awards, where Michelle took the time to pose for a photo with Steinfeld. Jennifer Lawrence has been considered by many to be Hollywood's quirky it girl for years. She's the one who always speaks her mind, tends to fall in public, and is just generally viewed as super relatable by her fans.
Now I realize I've made the biggest mistake of my entire life.
But is this Oscar winner starting to take her fame for granted? Lawrence sat down with Adam Sandler in 2017 for Variety's Actors on Actors series, where the duo discussed the negative aspects of fans who don't respect their personal space. The actress dished,
"Once I enter a public place, I become incredibly rude. I turn into a huge asshole.
You get icy?
And that's kind of like my only way of defending myself."
She added,
"I'll like see somebody walking towards my table and just go, or like, 'Can I have a selfie?' And I'm like, 'No.'"
While Sandler awkwardly laughed at the remark, he then tried offering up his own 2 cents to the young starlet.
I don't shut him down.
He says he had a strategy that works when fans his age want to take a selfie.
They go, "Hey, Adam, can I get a picture?" And I always say, "Yeah, you don't want that, man." And the guy goes, "What?" And I go, "You don't want that." And he's like, yeah, I don't.
Nevertheless, the damage was seemingly already done. As of mid-2019, the YouTube video has 3,600 likes, but also holds a whopping 9,800 dislikes. Looks like some fans were rubbed the wrong way.
When you're a star, it's pretty important to acknowledge all of the millions of people who have paid enough attention to you to make you famous. While it might not be possible to shake every single hand, celebrities don't need to treat the little people like trash either. Here are a few celebs who have no respect for their fans, according to the fans themselves. Mike Myers. Legendary for his allegedly impossible behavior on set, Mike Myers is also apparently reprehensible when he's in the wild. According to a comment on Meme Stars, a fan saw Myers at a bar and his behavior was supposedly more Shrek than Love Guru. The fan wrote, "Prior to paying our tab, I walked over and said, 'Hey Mike, I'm a big fan. Can I buy you a beer?' And without even turning to look at me, he says, 'I can afford my own drinks. Save your money for my next movie.' Sorry Mike, but you didn't have to act like a, well..."
A sphincter says what? What? Exactly.
Michael Jordan. The legends of creepy underwear spokesman Michael Jordan's rudeness never seem to end, but none stand out more than when rapper Chamillionaire asked Jordan for a photograph. According to Chamillionaire's interview with the Mad Hatter Morning Show in 2015, the rapper bought a Jordan jersey at a charity event for $15,000, but things quickly went south.
I went over there, man, that dude was... And he started cursing and everything.
No, he's cursed? No, you never told me. You never told me.
He did for sure.
He cursed you out?
I mean, he said the N word.
Dan Aykroyd. When he's not busting ghosts, he's breaking hearts. While it seems unlikely that the affable comedian is a terrible guy, comedy legend and vodka baron Dan Aykroyd has been rated one of the meanest stars on, well, Meme Stars. It's alleged that Aykroyd regularly surrounds himself with goons and demands special treatments at restaurants and movie theaters. Even back in 2004, MSNBC caught Aykroyd berating Americans for consumerism at a promotional event for his holiday classic, Christmas with the Cranks. According to the news network, the Ghostbusters said, "The common enemy in North America is the Western consumer, who he blamed for these wars. Guess we shouldn't be buying those Ghostbusters action figures. Thanks for the tip." Jared Leto. We already knew that Jared Leto is a super creep, but according to a comment left on Reddit, there's at least one 30 Seconds to Mars fan who doesn't worship Leto anymore. The band was autographing things after the show, so I waited in line. They all talked amongst themselves as they absent-mindedly signed autographs. When I got to Jared Leto, I said, "Hey, that was a great show." He responded, "I signed your..." Now f*** off. Still, that's better than how he treats his co-stars.
I know you sent some super creepy gifts to everyone.
He sent a dead pig. Margot got a live rat.
Sandra Bullock. Generally regarded as America's sweetheart, Sandra Bullock blindsided one autograph-seeking fan with her unsportsmanlike behavior. In December 2012, a source told Star magazine that Bullock flipped out at a fan when he asked her to sign something. Sandra was so rude. She covered her face and yelled. He just wanted an autograph, and she actually yelled at him. To make the whole matter even worse, the fan was reportedly a wheelchair-bound veteran. Yikes. Amy Schumer. Comedian Amy Schumer has made no secret about her feelings about fans. She's cut performances short, and she publicly lashed out at a 17-year-old fan for a joke he tweeted about her after meeting her at an event. In May 2016, she attacked a fan on Instagram after she refused to take a picture with him, saying, "This guy in front of his family just ran up next to me, scared the shit out of me. Put a camera in my face. I asked him to stop and he said, 'No, it's America and we paid for you.' I will not take pictures with people anymore, and it's because of this dude in Greenville." Video evidence told a slightly different story.
Sorry.
Can you delete that?
Then she got mad at me.
While there's no video of what led up to this, the fan stopped recording when he was asked. It was then that Schumer pursued him to take his photo and share it with her Instagram followers, leading to the fan being harassed himself. Because using your fame to shame people is totally cool. Cameron Diaz. Notoriously reluctant to sign autographs, Cameron Diaz is apparently even against interacting with fans when it's part of the job. Witnesses told Radar Online that the actress was not even interested in the 4 or 5 dedicated Diaz fans at a 2014 fan premiere of Sex Tape, saying, "When Cameron was spotted, she refused the fans photos and autographs, telling them, 'If I did it for you, I'd have to do it for everyone,' before storming off." Maybe Sex Tape's horrible reviews just put everyone in a bad mood, because she wasn't the only star who treated fans like trash that evening. Jason Segel. Diaz's sex tape co-star Jason Segel didn't fare much better at the very same event. Though other fans have said he's generally pretty jovial, that fateful night in July 2014, Radar Online reported that his attitude was very unfriendly, saying, when a fan asked Jason for a photo as he left the premiere, he said no and literally slammed the car door right in the fan's face. People gasped. That's how bad it was. Jason was downright nasty to his fans. Surely that's a violation of the bro code, right?
Article 87. A bro shall at all times say yes.
Thought so. Musicians often like to think of themselves as torture geniuses. Unfortunately, some of them have a habit of torturing others. From online feuds, breakups, racist comments, and even murder, you'd be surprised who made our list of the biggest jerks in the music industry. American rapper, songwriter, and record producer Kanye West became infamous when he interrupted Taylor Swift at the 2009 MTV Video Music Awards. Since then, he's made a habit of storming the stage at award shows, most recently interrupting Beck at the 2015 Grammys, but his bad behavior doesn't end there. In January 2016, West came under fire for shaming ex Amber Rose for being a stripper, despite having a wife who rose to mega-stardom because of a sex tape. Additionally, West has no concept of his own first-world problems. He begged Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg for money when his own net worth is estimated at $145 million.
I am a god. Everybody says, who does he think he is? I just told you who I thought I was. A god. I just told you. That's who I think I am.
Looks like West could use a reality check. Kiss frontman Gene Simmons needs to keep his notorious tongue from wagging so much. When Run DMC was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Simmons told Radio.com, "You've got Grandmaster Flash in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Run DMC in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? You're killing me." That doesn't mean those aren't good artists, but they don't play guitar, they sample and they talk, not even sing. He also had beef with NWA's induction, griping to Rolling Stone, "I am looking forward to the death of rap." Aside from his beefs with other artists, Simmons is notoriously misogynistic. In an interview with NPR's Terry Gross, he said he wears a codpiece for one specific reason.
The notion is that if you want to welcome me with open arms, I'm afraid you're also going to have to welcome me with open legs.
He's also faced allegations of sexual assault and battery, making his claim of having bedded 5,000 women so far pretty terrifying. For several years, Miley Cyrus's issues with race have been rather prominent. In June 2013, songwriters Rock City told Vibe that Cyrus specifically asked them for an urban and black sound. Her notorious train wreck of a performance at the 2013 VMAs was likened to a minstrel show because of her use of black background dancers with whom she simulated sex and twerked. She proclaimed her love for hood music, and she capitalized on the culture to promote bangers in 2013, then promptly ditched it for her next album, Miley Cyrus and Her Dead Pets, in 2015. Just before she hosted the 2015 VMAs, Cyrus called Nicki Minaj not polite in an interview with Time, and then Minaj set her straight in the New York Times, saying, "You're in videos with black men, and you're bringing out black women on your stages, but you don't want to know how black women feel about something that's so important?"
Back to this that had a lot to say about me the other day in the press. Miley, what's good?
Where do we even begin? Chris Brown was pretty much squeaky clean until his February 2009 assault of then-girlfriend Rihanna, leaving her so battered she was almost unrecognizable. While that was the worst of his behavior, the rest wasn't much better. 2 years later, he hurled a chair into a window when Good Morning America had the nerve to ask him about the assault.
Definitely this album is what I want them to talk about and not the stuff that happened 2 years ago.
In 2012, Brown was in a bottle-throwing nightclub brawl with Drake, reportedly over Rihanna. He tore ex-girlfriend Karrueche Tran apart over social media when she dumped him after discovering he'd gotten another woman pregnant when they were together. This list can go on, but to sum it up, we don't see a humanitarian award in Brown's future. She may be known as the Queen of Pop, but Madonna has also made a reputation for herself as the Queen of Bad Taste. In June 2016, she found a way to make the mass shooting in Orlando all about her, even including Instagrams of her own face twice in her tributes. A month later, Madge performed a tribute to Prince, who died of an overdose of prescription drugs. Her tribute went off without a hitch, except she was toting a handbag emblazoned with the word dealer in her promotional Instagram pic. We would call this tacky, but to a woman who wears cones as an accessory, she might think it's just a fashion statement. Music producer Phil Spector's credits are impressive. He co-produced the Beatles' Let It Be album and George Harrison's 1971 benefit concert for war relief in Bangladesh, which won a Grammy for Album of the Year for 1972. And in 1989, Spector was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Despite these accomplishments in music, the flip side of his life's album was shady. In 2009, the legendary producer was sentenced to 19 years to life for the 2003 murder of actress Lana Clarkson. During his trial, 5 women took the stand and claimed that Spector threatened them with guns. Spector is most likely the biggest jerk on this list, but there is no doubt he has the worst mugshot.
Did Prince Philip make a kid cry? Which royal was almost a runaway bride? And did Princess Anne really snub the Trumps? Here are some of the times royals were caught acting rude. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding looked perfect. But as time went on, the public learned just how many contentious moments allegedly led up to their big day. For instance, the Daily Telegraph reported that Meghan had made Kate Middleton cry during a dress fitting ahead of the wedding. But as Meghan told Oprah Winfrey during her tell-all interview,
the reverse happened.
It's clear that at the very least, there was a major culture clash when Meghan joined the royal family. And if you go back and rewatch the wedding, you might see evidence of it in some royals' facial expressions, while a Black American pastor gave an impassioned 13-minute-long sermon about the power of love. As Bishop Michael Curry spoke, everyone from Princess Beatrice to Kate Middleton appeared to react, with some seemingly giggling at his speech. Zara Tindall, Queen Elizabeth II's niece, appeared to be one of the most visibly miffed by the speech. However, the pregnant royal told the Telegraph, "I was uncomfortable. My bum sort of slid over either side and Lena kicked the hell out of me for an hour." Most people know it's impolite to giggle or smirk during a sermon, unless the pastor is trying to be funny. But the royals aren't most people. Nowadays, Prince Andrew is known as an associate of the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. But there was a time when palace PR pros and the British media managed to present the prince as a lovable playboy. His nickname was Randy Andy, and in the book Andrew, the Playboy Prince, royal biographer Andrew Morton asserted that girls fainted at the sight of him. Now that the prince's alleged wrongdoings are public, though, people have been remembering other unsavory moments. Nigel Cawthorne alleged in his book, Prince Andrew, Epstein, Maxwell, and the Palace, that Andrew was a bully at school, as well as, quote, boastful and big-headed. In March 2021, rumors also began swirling that he was at risk of being accused of bullying aides in the wake of an investigation into Meghan Markle's alleged mistreatment of palace staff. As a source told the Daily Mail, people were shouted at regularly by the Duke of York, and there would be crying in the corridors. When Princess Anne was seen shrugging in the presence of Donald Trump, people assumed she was snubbing the then president. But Valentine Lowe, a journalist at the Times, cleared it up, tweeting, "No, she didn't snub the Trumps." However, a 2004 documentary called The Real Princess Anne aired on the UK's Channel 4 and apparently shed light on her real personality. The documentary revealed Princess Anne was regarded in her youth as being rather surly and impolite. She's been accused of being rude, sulky, and difficult. Perhaps the cruelest example of Anne's crankiness is the time a fan presented her with a bouquet of flowers and allegedly got mockery in return. 75-year-old Iris Halfpenny reportedly gave Anne flowers, telling the princess that she'd arranged them herself. As for Anne's response, the princess reportedly replied, "What a ridiculous thing to do." Princess Margaret is known in some circles as somewhat of a royal rebel. Her booze and cigarette-soaked morning routine is the stuff of legend. But some say her rebellious nature also resulted in some rudeness. In the Channel 5 documentary Princess Margaret, Rebel Without a Crown, royal expert Jenny Bond said, "She was fantastically grand, fantastically snobbish, and she did tarnish the reputation of the royal family by her lifestyle, by her broken marriages, by bringing divorce into the fold." According to Theo Aronson's book, Princess Margaret, someone who knew the princess said, "I have been at the same house parties as her, and her arrogance, her petulance, her rudeness, and her plain bad manners were awful." Margaret's good friend, Lady Anne Glenconner, wrote in her book, Lady in Waiting, My Extraordinary Life in the Shadow of the Crown, recalled Margaret seeing a woman feeding squirrels in the park. Per Glenconner, she marched up and started whacking them with an umbrella. When Queen Elizabeth's husband, Prince Philip, died in 2021, there was an outpouring of grief, along with quite a few articles recounting his many gaffes that some considered rude and even racist. In fact, royal biographer Nigel Cawthorne has written a book about the late prince called I Know I Am Rude. Cawthorne asserts that Philip once said of himself, "I know I am rude, but it is fun." Still, the people on the receiving end of his remarks might not have had the best time. Per The Guardian, he reportedly once asked a businessman of Aboriginal descent in Australia, "Do you still throw spears at each other?" And in 2015, he was caught on camera yelling obscenities at a photographer. Plus, according to the Irish Examiner, he allegedly once told a 13-year-old kid during a school visit, "You're too fat to be an astronaut." Of the prince, The Independent opined, "He will be remembered not only as the longest-serving consort, but perhaps also as the most gaffe-prone one." It's no secret that Prince Harry doesn't love the British tabloid press.
We all know what the British press can be like, and it was destroying my mental health. I was like, this is toxic.
But his attitude may have crossed the line from cautious to rude on a number of occasions. During a royal tour, a reporter from Sky News asked Harry about a conversation he just had with children and healthcare workers during an official appearance at a hospital. Rather than answering her questions, Harry abruptly cut her off.
Is that why it's important for you to come here and
The Sky News journalist in question responded to the exchange during the BBC documentary, The Princes and the Press, saying, "Most people looked at it and thought, well, hang on, it was a polite question. Why did it blow up? But looking back at it now, I had basically kicked the wasp's nest." Princess Michael of Kent, who's married to the Queen's cousin, Prince Michael of Kent, made headlines in December 2017 when she wore a blackamoor brooch to a Christmas lunch where Meghan Markle would be in attendance. Pieces of blackamoor art or jewelry are recognized as being insensitive, racist, and outdated depictions of black people. Needless to say, wearing the brooch at all is a questionable choice. Royal correspondent Charlie Proctor tweeted, "Princess Michael of Kent appears to have officially turned into a parody of herself as she attends the Queen's Christmas party wearing a blackamoor brooch." Princess Michael was already alleged to be a racist before the brooch incident, after reportedly making racially charged comments to people of color while in a restaurant. According to The Guardian, she also allegedly insisted she couldn't be racist during an ITV1 interview because she once dyed her hair and pretended to be biracial. A spokesperson apologized to TMZ on behalf of Princess Michael of Kent for her offensive choice of accessory, but clearly the damage to her reputation was done years before the brooch incident. Prince Charles has always been careful not to speak ill of the British press. But there was one instance when he got caught talking smack about a news reporter. Charles was on a ski trip with his sons in Switzerland in 2005, and the trio said a brief hello to the press. BBC correspondent Nicholas Witchell asked Charles if he was looking forward to his wedding to Camilla Parker Bowles the following week. After answering the question, Charles seemingly forgot he was still wearing a hot mic and whispered to William and Harry, "Bloody people, I can't bear that man. He's so awful, he really is." Witchell later said of the incident, per the Daily Mail, "There has never been an apology, and why should there be? He was probably quite right. You know, awful man. We're not there to be liked." Prince Harry and Meghan Markle announced they'd be stepping back as senior members of the royal family in early 2020. Speculation of a feud between the couple and Prince William and Kate Middleton abounded. No matter what the status of the former Fab Four is now, there seemed to be frosty feelings on display at the Commonwealth Day service in Westminster Abbey in 2020. Harry and Meghan were only in London for a few days after having decamped to Canada, and the service coincided with the end of their royal duties. Footage of the event shows Meghan and Harry smiling at William and Kate as they take their own seats. But it looks like William and Kate refused to even make eye contact with the couple. The book Finding Freedom, Meghan and Harry and the Making of a Modern Royal Family reported that the snub was done on purpose. revealing, although Meghan tried to make eye contact with Kate, the Duchess barely acknowledged her. But by August 2021, the two women seemed to be in a better place, with Us Weekly reporting that they'd been in contact with one another. To say Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles' relationship was controversial would be an understatement. The Prince of Wales even publicly admitted he'd cheated on Princess Diana during a television interview. Still, Charles' bond with Camilla has stood the test of time. The couple reportedly first met in 1970, but they had a rocky few decades before their marriage in 2005. They've seemingly been together with zero relationship scandals since they tied the knot, though. Despite this, Charles' mother, Queen Elizabeth II, is allegedly not Parker Bowles' biggest fan. Royal author Katie Nicholl claimed in the UK's Channel 5 documentary Royals at War, the Queen did everything she possibly could not to have Camilla's name mentioned in her presence. And if the Queen was to refer to Camilla, I don't even think it was by name. The Queen's dislike of the future Duchess of Cornwall appeared to carry over to Charles and Camilla's wedding day, when the Queen refused to attend their civil marriage ceremony. However, a royal insider told The Telegraph that the Queen felt she couldn't sanction the wedding due to her position as head of the Church of England. She did turn up for the photographs and a subsequent wedding blessing later in the day, which has got to count for something, right? South African athlete Charlene Wittstock's marriage to Prince Albert of Monaco has often been in the news cycle. In fact, gossip columns lit up with reports that she tried not once, not twice, but 3 times to leave the country and escape her wedding. French newspapers reported that Wittstock's passport was taken at least twice. The papers speculated that her alleged distress came from discovering that her fiancé, Prince Albert of Monaco, had previously fathered 3 children out of wedlock instead of the previously reported 2 kids. A palace official denied the runaway bride narrative, however, and the 2011 wedding did proceed as planned. Charlene cried during the ceremony, and she later told Times Weekend magazine, "Everything was just so overwhelming, and there were all the mixed emotions because of the rumors, and obviously the tension built up, and I burst into tears." Later, a source would tell the Daily Beast that they witnessed Charlene sobbing during lunch at the palace in Monaco. The insider recalled, Albert didn't acknowledge his wife was crying at all. In 2021, people reported that Charlene spent 6 months in South Africa, then returned to Monaco where she underwent treatment at an undisclosed facility. Prince Albert stated, "I'm probably going to say this several times, but this has nothing to do with our relationship. I want to make that very clear." He went on to explain that Charlene was suffering from exhaustion, but the world will never forget the bride's tears.
We all have bad days, and like us, not every celebrity's a contender for Mr. or Ms. Congeniality. Let's all gasp in wonder at some remarkably rude celebrity interactions served cold by a jury of their peers. Jon Stewart hosted The Daily Show for 16 years, during which he was able to handle everything thrown at him, except for one unbearable celeb who was banned from the studio, actor Hugh Grant. In 2012, Stewart revealed to fellow late-night host and bestie Stephen Colbert that while The Daily Show's guests have sometimes included both real and fictional dictators, Grant was the worst of the worst, recalling, "He's giving everyone the whole time, and he's a big pain in the ass." In an appearance to promote his film Did You Hear About the Morgans, the movie star griped about the clip chosen to run on the show, asking, "What is that clip? It's a terrible clip," Grant asked angrily, to which Stewart shot back, "Well, then make a better movie." Mike Myers is a comedy icon, having starred in comedy classics like the Austin Powers and Shrek movies. But not everyone's on-set experience with Myers has been positive. In fact, Amy Hill, who worked with Myers on 2003's The Cat in the Hat, described her time with him during the 2016 interview with the AV Club, saying, "It was just a horrible, nightmarish experience. I don't think he got to know anybody. He'd just be with his people and walk away. People would come and then he'd stand there. There was a guy who held his chocolates in a little Tupperware. Whenever he needed chocolate, he'd come running over and give him a chocolate." Hill concluded by saying, "That's what divas are like, I guess, or people who need therapy." Pete Davidson is no stranger to celebrity feuds, but his beef with former Saturday Night Live star Chevy Chase was completely unprovoked.
Good evening. I'm God, and here's the news.
Apparently, Chase wasn't a fan of the show's 2018 cast. He told The Washington Post, "I had to watch a little of it and I just couldn't believe it. That means a whole generation of heads laughs at the worst humor in the world." Davidson didn't take kindly to the remarks. He told Howard Stern, "He's a douchebag, Chevy Chase. I hate that dude. He's just a genuinely bad, racist person and I don't like him." He's a putz. I don't like him.
How's it going with the others?
Well, I don't know, really. I don't pay much attention to them.
Chase has long been accused of controversial behavior on set. His former Community co-star Donald Glover was allegedly the target of Chase's racist jokes, according to show creator Dan Harmon. For his part, Glover told The New Yorker, "I just saw Chevy as fighting time. A true artist has to be okay with his reign being over, but I know there's a human in there somewhere." Plenty of celebrities have been accused of diva behavior, and some have even owned it. But few have been called a diva as often as Mariah Carey. Just ask Demi Lovato. Back in 2016, the former Disney Channel star made her feelings about Carey perfectly clear in a since-deleted Instagram post. According to ET, the post read, "The woman is mean for no reason. Extremely talented? Yes. Superhuman? Possibly. Unnecessarily rude? Absolutely." Lovato's comments came on the heels of another since-deleted post of Carey's in which the "Always Be My Baby" hitmaker dissed Ariana Grande, as well as Carey's infamous "I don't know her" comments regarding Jennifer Lopez.
She says you know her. Okay, I know she. You know what? I'm very forgetful. Okay.
When asked by Andy Cohen what she would say to Lovato, Carey replied,
"I don't know her either."
We imagine Lopez, Lovato, and Carey won't be getting together anytime soon, but whatever distaste Carey did or didn't have for Grande must have dissipated. In 2020, the two, along with Jennifer Hudson, collaborated on Carey's Christmas track "Oh Santa," with Grande even joining Carey at the end to harmonize with the latter's signature whistle tone runs. It's often said that you should never meet your heroes. After working with musical icon Mariah Carey, Nicki Minaj would probably agree. In 2010, when Minaj's music career was just taking off, she and Carey collaborated on "Up Out My Face." Afterward, the rapper told MTV News, "When I met her, she was so funny and silly. I thought when I was gonna work with Mariah, she was gonna be like this diva, but we were cracking jokes the whole day. She's a sweet, down-to-earth person." But Minaj's opinion did a 180 when the pair reunited in 2012 as American Idol judges.
Three of us are sisters, and we won't let her go to the ball.
In a video released by TMZ, the super bass rapper is heard saying, "I told them I'm not putting up with her highness over there." Carey, of course, was the royal in question. Minaj also vague tweeted about the singer, "All I do is compliment you. That's not enough? You're a legend. Cheer up. You don't have to run down your resume or feel intimidated. Shady McGrady."
I didn't know she sang. I thought she rapped or whatever.
Carey has been less vocal about their feud, but during a 2015 interview on the Kyle and Jackie O show, she said of her time on The Idol, "That was the worst experience of my life. I don't think they had any intentions for us to have a good experience doing that show. Pitting two females against each other wasn't cool. Even over a decade later, we don't foresee this duo collaborating again." Leah Remini and Tom Cruise are both known for their affiliation with the Church of Scientology, but that's where their similarities end. Remini's made it her mission to expose the abuse and trauma she and others have allegedly suffered at the hands of the church, while Cruise remains a committed member.
You're fighting to save an ideal that doesn't exist. Never did.
While filming Mission Impossible 7 in December 2020, Cruise was recorded yelling at crew members over violation of COVID-19 safety protocols. Public response was mixed, but Remini alleged in the underground bunker that Cruise's words were a charade, writing, "Tom does not believe in illness. Tom's reaction that was released yesterday shows his true personality. He is an abusive person. I witnessed it. I've been a recipient of it on a small level, and I've been told of similar abuse by his former girlfriend, his employees, and his friends. This is the real Tom." Cruise defended himself in an interview with Empire magazine, saying, "I said what I said. There was a lot at stake at that point. All those emotions were going through my mind. I was thinking about the people I work with and my industry." Carney Wilson of the group Wilson Phillips had a horrific experience on Howard Stern's radio show back in 1999. She opened up about it on The Talk in 2017, saying, "When I walked in, the producer Gary said, 'Step over here and wait for Howard.' Well, I didn't know this, but I was stepping on a scale. And I looked up and in red big numbers, 233 pounds showed up on this thing. I said, wait a minute, and I looked down and all I could think was, Howard ready to shame me? They purposely did it." Stern said to Wilson's husband, musician Rob Bonfiglio, "There's something wrong here. No guy's going to go out with a broad who looks like this." To make matters even worse, Wilson's appearance on Howard Stern was shortly after she had gastric bypass surgery for the first time. The singer, who has struggled with her weight for much of her life, later underwent a second procedure in 2012. As Wilson recalled of Stern, "It's like a joke to him, but it wasn't to me. It was one of the worst experiences I ever had. I was so devastated and so embarrassed. Humiliated, really." Bill Maher has been interviewing celebrities on Real Time with Bill Maher since 2003, and he's made more than a few enemies in the process. Anthony Bourdain appeared on the show as a member of a panel in 2011, sharing his thoughts on food and sex.
We both like beer, and we both like barbecue, or I do anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's setting the bar really low on having things in common.
Before his tragic death on June 2018, Bourdain shared with Reason his opinion of Maher, saying, "Insufferably smug, really the worst of the smug self-congratulatory left. I have a low opinion of him. I did not have an enjoyable experience on his show. Not a show I plan to do again. He's a classic example of the smirking, contemptuous, privileged guy who lives in a bubble, and he is in no way looking to reach outside or even look outside of that bubble in an empathetic way." Maher must not have been too perturbed by the comments as he didn't respond, but the comic did crack a joke at Bourdain's expense just weeks after his death by suicide. While reading a fake headline, Maher said, "Comet destroys Asia, white people on Facebook still talking about Anthony Bourdain." Oscar winner Tommy Lee Jones is no fan of Jim Carrey. The two worked together on Batman Forever back in the 90s, and Jones didn't mince words when it came to his lack of fondness for his comedic co-star after Carrey spotted him having dinner at the same restaurant. In an appearance on Norm Macdonald Live, Carrey recalled, "I went over and I said, 'Hey Tommy, how are you doing?' And the blood just drained from his face, and he started shaking. He got up and he went like this. He must have been in mid-kill me fantasy or something like that, and he went like to hug me, and he said, 'I hate you. I really don't like you.' And I said, 'What's the problem?' And I pulled up a chair, which probably wasn't smart, and he said, 'I cannot sanction your buffoonery.'" Carrey kept a mostly good attitude about the incident, surmising, "I was the star, and that was the problem. He's a phenomenal actor, though. I still love him." Rosie Perez and Jennifer Lopez worked together on In Living Color in the early 90s. Perez was a choreographer for the sketch comedy show and even fought for Lopez, who appeared in over 60 episodes to get her big break as a fly girl.
We have a new fly girl coming all the way from Bronx, New York, Miss Jennifer Lopez.
In her 2014 memoir, Handbook for an Unpredictable Life, however, Perez claimed that J-Lo's on-set behavior was inappropriate, writing, "All of the girls were coming into my office complaining how she was manipulating wardrobe, makeup, and me all to her advantage." Perez claimed that when she addressed the issue with Lopez, she responded like, "Some ghetto screaming and pounding her chest." Their feud heated up following Lopez's exit from the show, with Perez accusing her of acting friendly despite dissing her behind her back and then ghosting her. Perez wrote, "I was blindsided. I'd thought we were cool. I called her up, she wouldn't pick up." Of seeing Lopez at a club shortly after, Perez recalled, "I should have let it go, played it off too. Instead, I killed her with my biting tongue." On the positive side, it seems that Perez actually holds no ill will toward Lopez these days. In 2016, she told CNN, "I don't hate Jennifer Lopez. I have great respect for her. Yes, we had a tiff and it was 20 years ago and I write it in my book. I've moved on and I'm sure she has also." It was hard to keep track of all the drama in season 12 of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, including the feud between Kathy Hilton and Lisa Rinna.
I mean, I don't really have a temper. What would you call this?
Their beef started in Aspen, Colorado, where Hilton reportedly berated fellow housewife Kyle Richards in front of Rinna. Rinna confronted Hilton about her behavior when the group returned to Beverly Hills.
Kathy started screaming, and she said, "I will destroy Kyle and her family if it's the last thing I ever do."
But the drama didn't end there. During the finale, accusations flew that Rinna leaked details about Hilton to the media. When Hilton and Rinna discussed the issue at the 2022 reunion, Hilton said, "You fight with everybody. I mean, the list can go on. And then saying that you've been bullied? You are the biggest bully in Hollywood and everyone knows it." More recently, the two seem to have made amends. That December, Rinna shared, "I saw Kathy last night and we had a lovely chat. All good, all I need to say. We had a fun time last night. We all did. It was a fun night."
Bieber versus Clinton, Madonna versus Canada, and Alec Baldwin being his own worst enemy. What did these celebs even do? Keep watching to find out. From the moment hits like Think of Me and Like a Virgin struck gold in the 80s, self-absorbed songstress Madonna has hinted that everything is about her. And even though her status has faded somewhat, her narcissism hasn't. Take, for example, a 2019 show in Miami where Madonna was 2 hours late, prompting one fan to launch a class action lawsuit against the musician when he couldn't get a refund. At Her Majesty's next show in Las Vegas, she referenced the irate plaintiff, declaring, "A queen is never late." 2 years earlier, Madonna had an excuse when a crashed video delayed her Manchester show. Yet she still criticized her impatient audience. But live audiences aren't her only target. In 2020, she took on Canada, a country she tweeted was, quote, boring, after learning Prince Harry and Meghan Markle plan to live in the Dominion. She made efforts to throw a wrench in their plans, luring them to sublet her New York apartment, saying,
Don't run off to Canada. It's so boring there.
Angry Canadians responded accordingly. That same year, while lounging in her opulent bathtub complete with rose petals, Madonna posted a reel on Instagram where she said that COVID-19 was,
It's the great equalizer. And what's terrible about it is what's great about it.
Not so equalizing were her palatial surroundings, upsetting viewers who deemed her arrogant. Instagram has since deleted the video for spreading false information about the coronavirus. Other snooty escapades abound, but the classic remains her 1994 appearance on The Late Show with David Letterman, where she dropped a cascade of F-bombs for no other reason than to be controversial. Steven Seagal is an absolute legend. In his own mind, that is. On one occasion, the actor bragged about training CIA operatives in Japan while filming Under Siege 2. And in another instance, he told an executive he read the most incredible script ever written, one that was penned by himself. On the set, the megalomaniac was difficult to work with. John Leguizamo, who worked with him on Executive Decision, recalled Seagal declaring that he was in control of the whole set.
I thought he was kidding. We were just hanging out.
Yeah.
And he Aikito'd me against a brick wall. Pow!
Seagal also tried to pull a prank when hosting Saturday Night Live in 1991, said Better Call Saul star Bob Odenkirk, a writer on the sketch comedy at the time. On Howard Stern, Odenkirk recalled Seagal wanting to alter a Hans and Franz bit where he would beat up the bodybuilding duo. Seagal even created a sketch that turned into an 8-minute rumble involving Exxon executives.
And at the very end, he turns to camera and says,
This is what happens when you pollute the planet.
Odenkirk said the audience was mystified. Not surprisingly, Seagal is also close friends with another brutish egomaniac named Vladimir Putin, and has been a Russian citizen since 2016. Fortunately, that means he's no longer America's problem. One of Alec Baldwin's most defining moments was his portrayal of a brash, arrogant, and foul-mouthed motivational salesman in the 1992 movie Glengarry Glen Ross.
Because the good news is you're fired.
However, that might not have been much of a stretch for the actor, as it seems he possesses those same traits. Take that moment in 2011 at LAX when he was punted from an American Airlines flight for refusing to stop playing a game on his cell phone when passengers needed to turn off their electronic devices. A passenger told the New York Post, "He was just crazy. He just flipped out. The guy has problems." 3 years later, Baldwin was a raging handful for cops who called him, quote, arrogant and loud, after ticketing him for driving in the wrong direction of a one-way street. And in 2018, he pleaded guilty for second-degree harassment after fighting with a Saab driver over a parking spot he wanted for his Escalade. All of his previous actions seemingly culminated when Baldwin reportedly accidentally killed a cinematographer in 2021 with a prop gun on the set of the movie Rust. Although not charged with a homicide when the gun turned out to have fired a real bullet, one arms expert claimed Baldwin ignored safety protocols. Furthermore, critics interviewed by Fox News claimed a televised interview designed to tell Baldwin's side of the story was an attempt to absolve himself of responsibility.
Alec Baldwin is not the victim, and he clearly didn't do that interview to make Helena Hutchins' family feel better.
It helps to be arrogant in the notoriously Darwinian rap industry, and Nicki Minaj has that turf covered nicely. Her most pivotal target was 90s hip-hop queen Lil' Kim, whose poses Minaj appropriated onto her own promo pictures for her 2007 mixtape, Playtime Is Over, kicking off a lengthy feud that ended when Lil' Kim threw in the towel in 2018. Minaj has also thrown ample shade at Cardi B in a lengthy on-off series of altercations that culminated at a party held in 2018 during New York Fashion Week. And as a judge on American Idol, she squared off against fellow panelist Mariah Carey, no stranger to vanity herself. But if there's a weakness to Minaj, it's her uncontrollable tendency to fly off the handle after an award snub. In 2015, she bickered about losing an MTV VMA award. tweeting that she would have won if she were a different type of artist. Unfortunately, the tweet caught the attention of Taylor Swift, who thought the shot was meant for her, launching another Minaj ruckus. When she lost a Best New Artist Grammy in 2012, Minaj went ballistic on the award show, tweeting in part, "They gave it to the white man, Bon Iver." Little did she know, Bon Iver is actually a band. It's hard to tell whether Justin Bieber's arrogance stemmed from achieving top pop status so early in life, or whether he believes his privileged position atop the entertainment heap makes him immune to all the drama that comes with stardom. Either way, his shenanigans don't exactly make for good press. But Bieber urinating in a janitor's bucket while inexplicably cursing President Bill Clinton's name in 2013 was somewhat unnerving, if not mildly amusing. And getting nailed for his graffiti on the wall of a historic hotel in Rio de Janeiro demonstrated how willing he was to push boundaries. On the other hand, at Anne Frank's historic hideaway in Amsterdam, which he visited in 2014, Bieber was quickly forgiven for scrawling in the guestbook, quote, "Hopefully, she would have been a believer," the teen idol's colloquialism for his fan base. But hefty fines for vandalizing a neighbor's house and a DUI in Florida showed that karma has a way of leveling the playing field, which was why a statement he put out in 2015 was so refreshing, saying, "I didn't want to come off arrogant or conceited or basically how I've been acting in the past year and a half. I'm not who I was pretending to be." He's kept his word so far, and matrimony to Hailey Baldwin seems to have helped. As a musician who's received more than 1 million gold and platinum song certifications, and the owner of a lucrative fashion operation, it's obvious Rihanna puts a lot of work into her products, which makes it an even bigger shame that she doesn't exert that effort into being more civil with her fans. One example of that disregard took place in 2016 at a UK festival, when she angered fans by starting her show an hour late and allegedly lip-synced part of her set. While the fake vocalizing can't officially be confirmed, her tardiness was most likely attributable to her being pampered extensively in her dressing room. This was made even more opulent thanks to a tour writer that demanded 6 archipelago black candles, dark blue or black icy chiffon drapes, a large plush animal throw rug, a humidifier, and 4 square vases of white tulips. And for fans who get too close, beware of her golden microphone, which she uses to swat them away. Rihanna's also been known to show contempt for fans who feel inspired by her designs and share their wares online. One such admirer, displaying work influenced by Rihanna's Fenty line, received a frowny face critique from the singer.
Though they keep countless viewers entertained with the gift of gab, there are many talk show hosts who have skeletons in their closets. Who is the worst among them? Keep watching to find out. James Corden is adept at playing the role of the affable Brit out of water, and his tenure on The Late Late Show has delighted audiences with iconic segments like Carpool Karaoke. After all, who can forget former First Lady Michelle Obama bopping with Missy Elliott? But beneath the cheeky veneer, revelations regarding Corden's supposed arrogance have left some fans astounded. Rumors of his attitude reached the point where fans even called him out during a 2019 Reddit AMA, with several users roasting him for his many alleged indiscretions. That same year, a late-night writer took to Twitter to accuse Corden of attempting to undermine union writers by recommending lower pay. Corden denied this, however, claiming he was advocating for younger talent. Regardless, his more controversial behavior had been on full display years before, when accepting the Audience Award for Gavin and Stacey at the 2008 BAFTAs. Corden came across as wholly ungracious, grumbling, "Just out of interest, how can the best comedy performance and program of the year not be eligible for Best Sitcom?" And at the 2010 Glamour Awards, Sir Patrick Stewart castigated Corden for his seemingly rude manner at the event, saying, "Don't stand at the back of the stage with your hands in your pockets, looking around as though you wished you were anywhere but here." As The Guardian wrote in 2008, Corden says he had a confidence problem, too much of it. With his old-school brand of stand-up comedy, Jay Leno regularly pulled in record viewing figures in the 90s. Legend has it, however, that the longtime late-night host remained at the top via unscrupulous means. When his time on The Tonight Show ended in 2009, he moved on to his eponymous primetime series. which resulted in a long feud with successor Conan O'Brien. The latter was seemingly furious when NBC offered Leno his old 11:30 p.m. time slot amid dwindling ratings, while O'Brien was given an ultimatum of either taking the unsociable midnight slot or getting axed, as reported by TMZ. This meant that O'Brien was effectively robbed of the dream job he'd been promised by the network for years, one for which he had moved his family and his entire production company from New York to California. As he joked during one episode of The Tonight Show,
I just want to say to the kids out there watching, you can do anything you want in life. Yeah, unless Jay Leno wants to do it too.
While Leno later expressed zero regrets on Watch What Happens Live, communications professor Jeffrey McCall told the Los Angeles Times that the ensuing controversy resulted in Leno's reputation getting warped in public, from that of a fun-loving comedian to a guy who ends up looking like he has a more dark, selfish side. Rosie O'Donnell helped lead the charge against Leno, calling him, quote, the bully on the playground who doesn't want to let go, and fellow late-night hosts David Letterman and Jimmy Kimmel piled on, routinely crushing Leno in their monologues, and sometimes to his face.
Ever order anything off the TV? Like NBC ordered your show off the TV? No.
Ultimately, Team Coco had the last laugh, as Conan became a cause celeb and got a new show that lasted more than a decade, while Leno disappeared into his garage and faded into obscurity. As former host of The Late Show, David Letterman was once synonymous with the talk show circuit, an iconic figure in late-night entertainment. However, the post-Me Too era has led to his reputation being sullied by numerous unsavory revelations. In 2019, the extent of his alleged abuse of power, particularly in his admitted interactions with women, was eye-opening. According to the New York Daily News, Letterman allegedly bullied and yelled at both his colleagues and guests. Executive producer Rob Burnett alleged that he was perpetually moody, and writer Eric Stengel claimed that he behaved, quote, like a pervy old man at times. In fact, he was blackmailed for having a sexual relationship with one of his employees, something he revealed himself on the air in 2009.
The creepy stuff was that I have had sex with women who work for me on this show.
In a 2019 Vanity Fair interview, Letterman also apologized to former writer Nell Scovell for creating an unwelcome workplace environment for women, saying, "I'm sorry I was that way. I felt horrible because who wants to be the guy that makes people unhappy to work where they're working? I don't want to be that guy. I'm not that guy now. I was that guy then." So are these apologies enough? That's for each individual to decide for themselves. There's seemingly no end to Wendy Williams' controversial shenanigans on her eponymous show, as the host is known to frequently make light of highly sensitive subjects. For instance, when a woman accused Drake of rape in 2018, Williams joked about the accuser's body shape rather than address the serious allegations at hand. 3 years later, she went viral for going on what BuzzFeed called a bizarre rant about TikTok star Swavey, noting that he had more social media followers than her, only to nonchalantly drop the bombshell that he was murdered at the age of 19. The mystifying segment resulted in major backlash. Many viewers accused her of trivializing his tragic death. In addition to being called out for alleged homophobia and ableism, Williams has also been condemned for appearing rude to her guests and for ridiculing people's appearances. For instance, she had to apologize after mocking Oscar winner Joaquin Phoenix for being born with a cleft lip. She doesn't seem to actually be that apologetic for anything, though, telling TV Line, "People have always been looking to pick and poke. And all of a sudden, social media came up and people, they get together and they want to think what they think. All I am is Wendy. That's it." Throughout the years, Bill Maher has perhaps become less known for comedy and better known for his somewhat fearless willingness to embrace opinions that are neither popular nor politically correct. Jacobin Mag said that the controversial talk show host is bound together by a distinctly metropolitan smugness that revels in causing offense, then greets the inevitable blowback with caustic superiority. For instance, Maher's first show, the aptly titled Politically Incorrect, was canceled canceled by ABC due to comments he made in the weeks following 9/11. As reported by the New York Times, he went against the consensus of the time by claiming that Americans, as opposed to the terrorists who hijacked the planes, were, quote, cowardly. The show got canceled. Maher continued with this approach on HBO's Real Time, often being accused of expressing anti-Muslim sentiments. Famously, he was called out by Ben Affleck for jokingly dismissing Islamophobia in 2014, with the actor branding his views as, quote, gross and racist. Amid allegations of racism, sexism, homophobia, and so on, Maher has perhaps unsurprisingly joined a long line of middle-aged comedians taking aim at so-called wokeness and cancel culture. 2021, for example, saw Maher defend Dave Chappelle's transphobic jokes. He also got in hot water in 2022 for dismissive comments about the COVID-19 pandemic, which brought widespread condemnation.
And I think he's forgetting that people are still at risk who cannot get vaccinated.
We all love those cute little skits on the Ellen DeGeneres show, particularly the comedian's scaring celeb stunts. But who knew that beneath her funny pranks and be kind to one another brand was an allegedly nightmarish reality behind the scenes? When Kate McKinnon parodied DeGeneres on Saturday Night Live, the running gag was that the host could do pretty much anything and brush it off with the mantra, "I'm Ellen." Whether this was a prophecy or not, one thing's for certain, DeGeneres sure annoyed tons of her employees. As reported by BuzzFeed, numerous people levied troubling accusations toward DeGeneres and show execs in 2020, including claims of racist microaggressions, belittling staff, and contributing to a toxic work environment. One employee said, "That be kind bullshit only happens when the cameras are on. It's all for show." The allegations led to an investigation and swift backlash against DeGeneres, prompting a number of her uncomfortable interviews with celebs to resurface. The Ellen DeGeneres show announced it would end its 19-season run in 2022. But those aren't the only troubling claims against the titular host. According to the Daily Mail, a waitress alleged that DeGeneres once tried to get her fired because her nail polish was chipped, saying, "She really went out of her way to try to hurt someone who is beneath her and serving her." Forbes argued that people overlooked DeGeneres' alleged mean girl behavior due to her typical, quote, passive-aggressive demeanor while on air. As host of Piers Morgan Live and Good Morning Britain, Piers Morgan seemingly made a career out of being disliked by much of the public, and most of his peers. In a 2014 column for The Times, fellow TV host Jeremy Clarkson lambasted Morgan for his stupid Twitter boasts about his huge fame and lavish lifestyle. He went on to add that his CNN show failed because the viewers hated him. Everyone hates him. By March 2021, Morgan's controversial remarks about Meghan Markle resulted in tens of thousands of complaints, leading him to literally walk off the ITV morning show's set and resign. The Guardian branded him, quote, "the man who never knew when to stop." Plus, away from the camera, Morgan has been embroiled in some other allegedly shameful improprieties, and we're not talking about his propensity for the more than occasional celebrity Twitter feud. While Morgan has long denied his involvement, the former editor of the Daily Mirror found himself at the center of the tabloid's celebrity phone hacking scandal in the late 2000s. Fellow TV presenter Jeremy Paxman even alleged to the Levison Inquiry that Morgan once explained to him in explicit detail how to hack a phone, as reported by The Guardian. While Lord Justice Levison stated the allegation didn't prove Morgan's involvement, he did add, "What it does, however, clearly prove is that he was aware that it was taking place in the press as a whole, and that he was sufficiently unembarrassed by what was criminal behavior that he was prepared to joke about it." An understated and slickly professional host, Charlie Rose was renowned for his expertly researched interviews on both his titular show and CBS This Morning. One got the sense that Rose was genuinely invested in his guests, who were the focus of his interviews, as opposed to himself. While not a huge personality in the vein of, say, Jay Leno, Rose's contribution to the talk show medium is undeniable, as he remained the antithesis of a larger-than-life TV host. This reputation made it all the more surprising how apparently audacious Rose was in his alleged entitlement towards women's bodies. As reported by the Washington Post in 2017, 8 female employees of The Charlie Rose Show accused him of sexual misconduct. More accusations followed. The former employees alleged, among other things, that Rose frequently exposed himself to women, made, quote, lewd phone calls, gave unwanted shoulder rubs, and engaged in groping. Insider also reported that Rose's one-time makeup artist was suing him. The lawsuit alleged, far from being an advocate for their careers, Mr. Rose treated them as sexual targets, using his power and influence to serve his personal desires. Responding to the Washington Post's expose, Rose admitted to some of the accusations and apologized for his behavior, though he argued that a number of the claims were inaccurate. Subsequently, when TMZ asked Rose to comment on his wrongdoings, he literally slammed the door on them, saying, quote, "It's not wrongdoings." The notion of the Jeremy Kyle Show might seem unfathomable in the current climate. Often compared with the likes of the Jerry Springer Show, Jeremy Kyle appeared to take the moral high ground on his tabloid-esque series in the UK. The Guardian alleged that he did this by attacking the most economically deprived and marginalized people in society, quote, as if decency and compassion are middle-class affectations. Subsequently, The Independent suggested that Kyle contributed heavily to the demonization of the poor, writing, Kyle exploited people's genuine problems, which were frequently mental health related, for entertainment, using faux concern and cod psychology to give a paper-thin veil of respectability to the nastiness. Kyle, for his part, was vicious, a pugnacious troll with a god complex. Indeed, Kyle's frequent targets included the unemployed, young single mothers, and those with substance abuse issues, as his show appeared to quench viewers' thirst for public shame and ridicule. In a new magazine column, singer Carrie Katona wrote that Kyle's show was a vehicle to mock lower-class people with no teeth, whose mental health problems aren't always taken seriously. While defenders of the show have noted that the host attempted to resolve whatever issues the guests had, it was usually done in exchange for being verbally lambasted at great length. This controversial technique tragically resulted in the death of a guest by suicide shortly after filming an episode, effectively bringing the longtime series to an end in 2019. If you or anyone you know is having suicidal thoughts, please call or chat online with the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK 8255 or text HOME to the crisis text line 741-741.